Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scoutsers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's Wednesday. We are back in action as we like 1 and 2. It doesn't get any better than this. World's greatest stat is right here, and number two, Gordo is right here. What's happening?
Oh, not much. Just enjoying the nice weather because I don't know. I feel like I did all the chores and all the yard work when it was like 20 degrees, and I missed like this window on both sides of 75 degrees, and I'm just kicking myself for it.
I got a lot done this weekend. Oddly, it was like in the 70s, and the funny thing is, it was like really windy as hell. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, we lived like maybe like an hour or so from each other with Gordo. We're both in the Chicago area, and the funny thing is, like there's so much. We like changed the fence and like we added 2 panels to the fence steps. So there's all kinds of the scrap wood laying around that I was like, I gotta burn this stuff. And I started burning it, and it was freaking windy as hell, right? So I like burning it, like there's all these leaves. I'm cleaning the garden at the same time. It's like freaking 70s. I'm in like shorts in like first week of March. It's nuts. And then Angie's like, yeah, it's really windy out there. I know we should be burning it. I'm like, it's swirling though, it's not like all
Yeah.
of it is going to one neighbor or something. It's like swirling. So I'm like, oh, I'm burning a lot of stuff. We come inside and Angie's like, there's like a warning on the phone about like,
Yeah,
not
there was a
having
red warning.
open fires.
Yeah.
I was like, whoops. But to be fair, it was in a fire pit. It's not like I was like doing a fire in the middle of the
Outside,
field or
yeah.
something like that. So it wasn't that bad. Good morning, everybody. Sergi, Alan, Ryan. And then obviously we're live on Instagram Live this morning as well. I was really counting on the press conference to kind of like get some news on injuries and who's going to be available and all that kind of stuff. But guess not. It's going to be because of I think it's because in Europe and because of the time zone and stuff like that. Actually, it's in like 4 hours or something like this, like
Mhm.
1 o'clock our time or something. So we're not going to get those updates till later on today. But a few things to talk about. So actually they're somehow going to be all related. I mean, we're talking you guys missed the two old grumpy men conversation before we went on air about how things are so expensive and things like that. It was like literally it sounded like two 80-year-old guys, but we
Bring
are
back the Taco Bell dollar menu. That's what I got from it.
so a couple of things with money. Let's see who goes nuts and who doesn't, but let's start with this one. LeBron's LFCX. I don't know what is the X for. Is that like, I mean,
I
is there
like collaboration. I don't know.
yeah, LFC against LeBron? I don't know what that is. Like versus LeBron? I don't know what that is, but
Times LeBron.
so the new collection is out. Actually, I am kind of digging the jersey. Obviously, I'm not gonna wear the basketball thing, but a couple of the things are pretty darn nice. If you don't look at the price tag, I don't know if I'm paying that much for it, but I can't wait. I saw the photos and I was like, oh, I can't wait for the outrage online for all the stuff.
Those
Um,
shoes up $160.
Comes
Oh
with
my!
feet, feet included, an extra set of feet in
I'm
case you get tired.
I'm embarrassed to say. You remember the Liverpool? It was like sort of the same color as those when we had the Reebok, or not
Balance?
Reebok, the New Balance.
Yes.
I'm still wearing those shoes. I think I've had those for like 6 years now.
Yeah, I'd be wearing this to the grave if I'm spending 154
Yeah,
95 on this.
exactly. His basketball jersey though, is that it just looks like a rebranding of his the one that he wore in Space Jam, if I'm not mistaken. Like,
I can proudly say I have not seen Space Jam, to be honest,
let
but
me see if I can.
uh,
It looks like it almost looks like the same photo. They just put "You'll Never Walk Alone" on it instead of the Looney Tunes or whatever.
I don't know. Like some of the stuff is nice. I know there's usually Ryan says I missed the grumpy talk. That's why I listen. Oh, there'll be more of it, I'm sure, because I'm sure there'll be like a bunch of people like. I want to see if any. I don't think our regulars would have this, but for some reason, I think it's because it's LeBron. Is it okay? Let me ask you this: some of the outrage, and I'm not even talking about the outrage here. And I wish we had somebody from the other side of the ocean over here to ask, but I don't know if they get as much of a reaction because when I see the reaction here, do you think it's because it's LeBron, because it's somebody American, because it's somebody who plays basketball? Like, why is there some over the top hate on this, like unnecessary hate? Like, would it be the same thing if it was Roger Federer collection or some crap like that?
I think it is because he is American and he's such a big icon, and it's like cross sports, which like basketball is not very big in England at all. So this kind of doesn't make much sense, I'm sure, to most people across the sea, especially someone who cares so much about Liverpool. It's like, why do I care about this? It's just, I like, remember the Brendan Rodgers documentary, that the one that we all love to forget about? There's a part in there where they announce LeBron James as coming into like part ownership or taking some shares. And he comes in and he meets with Steven Gerrard, and Steven Gerrard hands him a Liverpool jersey with LeBron on the back. And LeBron hands Steven Gerrard a LeBron James jersey. And then proceeds to hand out Beats headphones to everybody, as if like he thought this was like some third world country. Like most of these guys now, just the arrogance like bothered me about LeBron. Like
I think that's something they give. Like, are we taking this like, because they give, I don't know, they buy offensive, I'm a 49ers fan, obviously, and then Christian McCaffrey bought the entire offensive line, everybody in offense like golf clubs or whatever. I mean, it's not like he doesn't think they can afford golf clubs. Isn't that something they just do as a nice gesture, and we're kind of like looking more into it?
Maybe, but I'm and it's preconceived because I already didn't like LeBron, so maybe that's just me like just projecting my hatred for him,
Because like Sergi says, because LeBron is making money out of us and invest nothing. I mean, I hate to say it, but LeBron doesn't need Liverpool to make more money.
No.
I mean, that's I mean, that if anything, I think we're using Nike and LeBron to make more money, because LeBron is, I mean, known around the world and stuff like that. There we go. Somebody from the other side of the ocean. Well, right now on our side of the ocean, but originally from the other side of the ocean. So we were just talking about this whole LeBron thing, right?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you basically grew up over there. So is there as much? Because I almost sense there's more hate here towards the whole LeBron thing, for sadly obvious reasons, for the most part too, because it's LeBron. Compared to like in the UK, do people get as offended? And would they be as offended, like I say, if it was like Roger Federer or something like that?
No, I think it's actually the opposite. I think people like can't embrace it. I think it's awesome when LeBron's walking around in a Liverpool shirt. I can see the argument there of like, LeBron doesn't do anything kind of thing. When LeBron wears a Liverpool shirt, people go out and buy a Liverpool shirt. I'm sorry, because that's what people do for LeBron James. The frustrating part for me is everyone in Liverpool wears a trainer called Air Max 95s, Nikes. And they just haven't done a collab with Liverpool yet. And you're like, you are literally, if you're trying to get a target audience of Liverpool, literally 95% of Liverpool wear that trainer. And you still haven't done anything with a collab of just a little live bird on the back of one of them. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit weird, but I think there's no one wears the LeBron clothing kind of thing, the collabs that they make. But when he's walking into the Staples Centre in a Liverpool shirt, which he's done numerous times, or the Liverpool tracksuits and stuff, it is a big thing. Yeah, it is like a thing of like fucking hell, LeBron James. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think if you're trying to grow Liverpool on a global scale, having probably the biggest active sports star in the world wearing the clothes, then is pretty good. So.
And I think that's the thing, right, Gordo? Like, this is not really so that people in Liverpool go out and shop for LeBron. This is for a much bigger markets of the world, billions of potential people who, follow. And if they follow any basketball, they automatically follow probably NBA more than even their local countries' leagues or anything like that. And the dude is, whether you like him or not, is a global icon in the sport. And honestly, like we were talking about before we went on air, I'm not a huge fan of his, even though I'm a Lakers fan. But I have become a bigger fan of him because of all the unnecessary hate he gets. And to be fair, for somebody who had so much fame, so much money, so much opportunity to do stupid shit, he has not done any of that. So he is a good. If I told you, if they came to me and said, hey, you're going to sign one guy from the NBA for Liverpool to represent, like, I can't think of a lot better names than him. Gordo froze on us.
That's okay. But no, mate, I agree. I think it's massive. I really do. And he seems like that person who's never been in trouble. He's had his wife from an early age, and he's had his kids, and he's had his family, and he just seems like that. He just seems like a nice guy. So I don't understand the hate. He's just like I don't get it. He just seems like a nice guy, which is okay.
Well, I have to say, a lot of the hate is racial.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying all of it. Don't get me wrong. I know,
Also,
like, people got irked when he did the decision and all that kind of stuff. Even though he gave, I mean, even at the time, I was like, this is kind of over the top cocky, like this whole the decision and stuff like that. Because I didn't follow him as much at the time. But then, to be fair to him, I think he gave all the proceeds to charity and stuff, maybe because he realized it was kind of like over the top dickish. But at the end of the day, like Ryan says, it is jealousy, but then there's a lot of other players to be jealous of. I think some of the over-the-top hate people give, I honestly think it's racial, and I think that's why I have become a bigger fan just to spite.
Exactly the same, because it's the same we see with Mo Salah. Doesn't get voted for Ballon d'Ors, doesn't get anything like that, and you're like, he's clearly one of the best players in the world. It's like not even a conversation. He is one of the best players in the world. He's never really up there in the Ballon d'Ors, doesn't really get the respect he deserves. People try and compare him to Eden Hazard, which is like fucking comparing Margot Robbie to Suzanne Boyle. Like, it's just incomparable. Do you know what I mean?
She has a better voice, though, doesn't she?
Well, you know what I mean? It's just like incomparable. So it's just that it's the respect thing. And you mentioned the racial thing, which it could be. It could be that. And there's that thing from Sparky as well, where people knock winners. Where personally, I'm obsessed with winners, Tim. Like, I love a winner. I loved the Michael Jordan Last Dance documentary. I was obsessed with it because I love someone who's just going to go out and say, yeah, I'm the winner and I'm the best, and go out and prove it. And LeBron James does that, so awesome. And he just did 40,000 points, hasn't he? First player ever.
He just did 40,000. I mean, he's already on top anyway. The dude owns, like, I mean, here's the thing. He's been, and I think that's his biggest attribute, is the fact that he's been pretty darn great for a pretty darn long ass time with no like extended injuries, like nonstop. And
someone worked it out, bro, right? That I think the 40,000 points in, to put it into context, you'd have to average that. You need to average 30 points a game for 20 years and play 72 games a year.
Yeah.
That is fucking insanity. That is like insane Messi numbers, isn't it? Like, of football numbers. It's just like one of the best, mate. So I love it when he wears Liverpool stuff. I'm obsessed with it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't start with Kobe, and I'm a bigger Kobe fan. I mean, personally, I mean, because I kind of like grew up with that, and that's when I was like a really hardcore Laker fan and stuff like that. And if anything, I feel like that's a reason for people to not like LeBron as much, because nobody can be Kobe. It's almost like the next manager is not going to be Klopp. You know what I mean? It's that kind of, regardless of how great they are, they're not going to be Klopp. So regardless of how great LeBron is, he's not going to be Kobe, and is always going to be compared whether he likes it or not, kind of a deal. And that's why I thought it was kind of gutsy. And I know it was for the money and it's LA and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I feel like there's like ridiculous over the top hate for him, and I really don't get it. Like I said, that's why I feel like some of it is, people who go around say shut up and dribble because they don't want to hear, just play basketball. We don't need to hear. And I think he's been more vocal on certain things. And you know what? Freaking like kudos to him. You can argue which players are better in their prime on the court, but we'll never see a career like LeBron's again. I think so, right? Like extended period of time. And in this day and age in NBA, I don't know how closely you follow NBA, Kazi, where people play 2 games, not play another. I'm being rested and stuff like that. Dude has played ages and ages and ages. So yeah, Kobe did have that ordeal. He just preferred. I say I was a huge Kobe fan as like a player. The mentality more than anything else, I think, is just like freaking like nuts to me.
Yeah, for me, that's my thing as well, mate. To keep yourself in shape and keep yourself going all the time. I think LeBron's career is probably the greatest career in NBA for the terms of longevity and what he's done. It's insane. Jordan's was very much a 6 to 8 year span. People forget that Jordan played in the 80s. I love that. People just go, well, he won 6, and you're like,
don't say that in Chicago over here. They're like,
it was like a 17-year career or 16-year career, guys. I know, you've still got to take into account that he played in the 80s. But mate, and I love LeBron, and the more he wears Liverpool stuff, the happier I am. And sometimes I do listen to his podcast, the Barbershop podcast, when he has different guests on. He had Jay-Z on and stuff, and he speaks about Liverpool sometimes on there, which I think is awesome.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, he does mention Liverpool, like, you know what I mean? And Every time he tweets about us when we win something, he usually tweets about us when we got a big game. Whether you like it or not, mate, the audience that LeBron James can reach in America, especially, is nothing that Liverpool could ever do, really. So,
and I think, I'm trying to think of markets. I don't know. Is it like more Far East, maybe like markets where people might not know Liverpool as much? Because, I mean, we all know like soccer, it's soccer everywhere you go except the US. So, but I'm trying to think of places where the LeBron name would be a lot more common than the name of Liverpool.
Well, I think, well, it's a very good question. I think America, of course, definitely. America is.
I guess, yeah, that's true.
Like, if that's the market that of course, American owners who were trying to break into and be Liverpool more of a bigger name. Look, mate, I was banging into the idea if Liverpool, before COVID, we're going to win Liverpool, we knew we were going to win the league around Christmas. And then the Lakers won the championship. I was like, get LeBron on there right now with the fucking trophy, with the Premier League. I was fucking banging into the idea. LeBron in the Liverpool.
You were one of the few, though, probably.
I would be losing all over it. LeBron standing there with the Premier League and the NBA championship like that. Yes. Fucking sign me up. Sign me up.
Yeah, like I say, America, maybe Asia. Yeah, I think maybe in Asia, like in Far East, like I can see where NBA is really, really big.
Yeah.
And it's like religiously followed over there. So I can see that possibly be, but I don't know where it will be, like where soccer will be bigger than NBA either. Yeah, see, you've been convinced. I mean, like I say, I do not see any negative out of it. And people are making it sound like, I think if you're too hardcore Liverpool and, like just thinking of Liverpool, like you're like, LeBron is taking advantage of Liverpool. I mean, it's really, if anybody is being manipulated for money over here, it's LeBron and his name and Nike, not the other way around.
Mate, do you know how much a tweet from LeBron James' account would cost? Do you imagine, just genuinely, you sit down LeBron James in a meeting and go, can you just tweet about my business? Do you know how much that would cost?
I can't imagine. But I would be, maybe if we gather, if everybody signs up for Patreon for the next 50 years, we might be able to.
This is what you're dealing with. LeBron tweets about Liverpool all the time. Great win, Reds, and shares the tweets, and that is fucking great. Like, there's no one bigger. I don't think there's apart from Messi and Ronaldo, but not in our sport. I don't think there's a bigger sports star in the world right now. Active. Roger Federer's gone. I don't think there's a bigger active sports star.
I mean, there's another thing. Like you mentioned, Roger Federer. I mean, he's not, because tennis is not as big as basketball, like nobody would, he's almost like Tiger Woods, where even if you didn't follow golf, you knew who Tiger Woods probably was.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably don't want him as a spokesman right now, but still, you have, and that's another thing I think maybe I like about it personally is the fact that, dude, it's really, really freaking hard when you're this goddamn good, when you were a freaking teenager, when you were this, everybody was all over it. He's going to be like the next biggest thing. From when you were a freaking teenager, you come into the league, you are this good for this long with nothing bad coming out about you, where everybody and their brother is looking for it. I think that's like a huge achievement by itself, that we have not had like negative stories about him or anything like that, because it's being looked around like 24/7.
Mate, that's full credit to the man. That's why I respect him so much. Like, there's not one slip up where he's like, oh, he did this mistake at 23.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing like that. It's just, didn't they have to like move high school games to like a different area in Ohio just so they can fit the fucking people in to come watch him? No one's had the pressure from high school to come on and succeed. No one had this pressure from his young age of 15 years of age. No one had pressure like him. You can talk about sports stars in our sport like Rooney and stuff like that at 16, but it was nowhere near the level of him. And then he comes in, mate, and does what he's done, and he's squeaky clean. Just an excellent spokesman, just a great person, man. I'm fully in for him, mate. Honestly, I'm all in for him. More the better.
Of course, now that we've said this, if something comes up tomorrow, this will be the ultimate American Scusser curse of all time.
Mate, yeah. I mean, can you just retire now and just leave, just get out the way for me? Yeah.
Once he hears this, he might be like, yeah, I better go before something happens.
Yeah, he's a great fella, man.
Okay, speaking of money and the greatest whiskey in the world, God, this is Anfield is getting worse by the day too. But so if you don't want the greatest whiskey in the world, I'll get that out of the way for you. Okay, Liverpool would consider selling naming rights to new Anfield Road stand. Much more money over here involved. So where do you sit on this one?
Where do I sit on this one? Great question. I
Because it's kind of like a different ball game, right? And I guess let me ask you this, because I was thinking about, where I would put myself in this one. I think it almost like, I don't know why, it shouldn't, right? But I think the name matters. Like if it was Nike, I don't think I'm as offended as Skittles or, you know what I mean? Like Butterfingers or something like that.
I'm torn on this because football's going a certain way where more investment is key, and I understand it and I get it. But it's been in the Anfield Road stand for as long as I can remember, and I'm sure for the whole of Liverpool, it's the Annie Road. And for people who don't know, who have never been to the stadium, it's because it's on Anfield Road. So it was very simple and it's difficult, this, mate. And I agree with you. I'm not into like a fucking Dunkin' Donuts Anfield Road stand. Do you know what I'm saying?
But would you be okay if it's Nike, for example? Or, like what we wear on the jersey or something like that season. It's like a package deal.
Yeah, for stands though, it's usually like a 5-year deal, and it with for stands or 10 years deals and stuff like that. It's a tough one, isn't it? But I don't know, man.
I'm digging it. The American Scouts stand. You gotta admit that would be it.
Yeah, that's got to be it's got to be some Patreon by that one fella to get the name right for that one. But yeah, I don't know. To be honest, mate, I haven't really had a good think about it. I'm not into it at the moment. I'm not into it because I do like my history and I think things happen for a reason and people should have that connection with the club. And I know football's going in a certain direction and you do have to move anyway. But it's called the Kenny Dalglish stand and it's not really the Kenny Dalglish stand. Still the main stand and it's still the Kemlyn Road to me on the opposite side kind of thing. So we still say it the old way. We'll still call it the Annie Road. Like I still call St. James's Park, and it's been the sports like that.
Once it's established like that, I mean, in Chicago, I'm sure like Mateusz, like Gordon, if you can ever get him back online with the connection, like he would say, I don't know, like White Sox standing. I still say Comiskey, and I know it's changed like 6 times. Probably 20 years with the who represents it. But to me, not that I care about baseball, but if I said that, I would say the Comiskey Park or Wrigley.
Exactly,
That's what I would say.
I just called then the Staples Center. It's called the Crypto Arena, but I still call it the Staples.
Yes, I still say Staples Center. Yep, exactly.
So you know what I mean? I still call it the Echo Arena in Liverpool. It hasn't been the Echo Arena for about 10 years. Yeah. So I used to call it the Echo Arena in Liverpool. I think it's called the M&S Bank Arena. It's still the Echo. It's just the Echo Arena. I still call it the Staples. So it's difficult, isn't it? But if Liverpool are going to go and get 300 million for the right to name your stand, again, I still call it St. James's Park, and it's Sports Direct Arena. But it's St.
I say essentially. That's what I mean. Like, does it even matter? Do you just take the money and run away with it? I know people will probably feel dirty about it, but at the same time, the money has to come from somewhere. And if you're on this side, like I remember, like what was it, like 2 seasons ago, they had like a stupid like a Hello Kitty thing or whatever, like a collab on the website, and people were losing their minds. They're like, "Why are we? What do you care?" I mean, it still has to be. David says, "I still call it Twitter." Exactly.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Do we even care? Because you are competing against other teams who are getting to be in that fund. So don't go crying afterwards saying, "Oh, we're not spending money." If you're against every single money revenue that is out there.
I do agree with what you're saying in that sense, but I think there's other ways we can make money, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, mate. I understand the way football's going, as you just said. You've got to make money somehow and stuff like that. And we all want Liverpool to compete. I think the best way for Liverpool to compete is to win trophies and get money that way, personally. I say this all the time. I think Liverpool got 300 odd million when they won the Champions League. Win the Champions League, then. Do you know what I mean? So, do you know what I mean? So that's where that frustration came in. I think we won the Champions League, signed Van der Berg and Adrian, and went again. And we were like, But of course, for people who don't know, because again, and you understand the podcast that we're on, Liverpool work off a bonus structure. If you're successful, the players all get weighed in. So I think we weighed our players in like 40 million after they won the Champions League. Everyone got like 3 million each or 2 million each because that's how we work. So last year, basically, a lot of the players just got their base salary because we were shit. So now, this year, probably we're going to have to pay them all again, kind of thing. But it's interesting, mate. It really is interesting. I think they probably will name it. Nike, I'm okay with, of course. Especially if I get me Air Max 95 collab, please. But
you can get the line in the back, yeah.
I mean, I'm on it right now. I want my Air 95 collab. But Yeah. Where are you at with it, Tim? It depends what the name is, isn't it?
I don't know why though. It shouldn't though, right? But to me, it does. I mean, I was thinking about that. I'm like, really depends on what they use. But then if you open the door and say, okay, this week Nike's okay. I know next week it's gonna be a sports drink, and then like before you know it, it's just a drink, and it just keep changing, and before you know it, it's Skittles again. But
That's
I mean,
insane.
I don't know why I'm so against Skittles name, but I mean, Spartacus will be changed Anfield, and I think FSG has learned over time.
Correct.
On their missteps.
Agreed.
They would not, I don't think, attempt that. But at the same time, they're still the same businessmen trying to maximize revenue. They probably know, hey, we might not be able to do that, but there's a ton of money spent on the stand. We can get some money to recoup some of that back.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like they wouldn't rename the cup. It's just like impossible.
Yes,
like,
exactly.
Like I know there's other.
How about the Nike Cup? I'm just kidding. Go ahead. The Skittles Cup.
Yeah, the Skittles Cup. I get him in. Maybe the world's greatest whiskey cup. But not. So there's certain things I think they've learned over time, which they can and can't do. This one is a 50-50 choice. I think this is one where they'll probably sit down with people like Spirit of Shankly and other fan groups like that and have the chat with them and go, here's the name we're thinking. Like, I think they would negotiate a name and go, we're going to present this. Because I know Liverpool do have fan representation now on the board.
Yeah.
So, ever since the Super League. So, there is that kind of thing. Yeah, it's interesting. Nike, yeah, Adidas and stuff like that, yeah. But again, I'm not into the fucking Carabao Cup one. Or like a Carabao fucking...
And that's the thing, like I say, the name should not really matter. It should be the principle or the concept or whatever. And I think people who say no will say it no based on that. But I think in my head, I'm trying to find a happy medium where you are still maximizing and bringing money that's going to be spent on academy, new players, the club, whatever, right? Yeah. And then, but trying to balance it with not totally selling out either.
And I guess I see Ryan's comment there. I understand it, but there's also a part I'm not selling the soul of my football club for a fucking CDM. So there's a very, you know what I mean? There's a difficult part of this as well. And that's why the name does matter. I think the name matters. I don't want to be fucking laughed at. It's the soul of the football.
Would the Viagra stand be like standing only, you think?
Oh, very good. Yeah. Every match has got to last 8 hours. Never finish. No match can ever finish. Just got to keep going and going and going. But
no penalties. Keep going overtime.
But no, man, I'm not interested in selling the soul of my footy club. I'm not.
Speaking of Viagra stand, Gordon is back.
I couldn't get it to go down. I had to.
It's just a little fucking pop blue pill. Look at him. He's back, baby.
It was starting to creep up at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, you're supposed to be calling the doctor after 4 hours.
Ryan's got a lot of experience of this by the sounds of it. Ryan's our resident guy on that one, but yeah, man, I'm not interested in selling the soul. Yeah.
So, Gordon, we're talking about, we went from a different Muddy Avenue, now the right to the Anfield Road stand. Where do you stand on that? No pun intended here.
Yeah, I think it has to be the right name. I mean, I heard a little bit of what you guys were saying in the back room or the green room or whatever you call it back there, but yeah, I think it can't be like a joke, right? Because I have a watching like the Wrexham documentary, and that's kind of big here in the States. They named the race course the Stoke race course now. They branded with Stoke, and race course is such a historic venue. I mean, it was the first Welsh International Stadium. It's and they were able to change that, and the fans didn't seem to really care about that. I'm not talking about renaming Anfield, but are they going to rename the Kop? Because theirs is named the Kop as well, and I'm assuming they'd probably slap a name on it. I guarantee they will.
They won't rename the Kop. They got killed. They'll be finished.
You're talking about Wrexham, right?
Yeah, because he's
talking about Wrexham. Did Wrexham sell out on that?
I mean, well, haven't they just done the 4 walls stand for Ryan's whiskey, hasn't he? Not Ryan's whiskey, the other guy, Rob's whiskey.
Yeah.
They just done the
and then they've got everything has aviation all over it, so they're turning that into kind of a commercial venue, and I see that's the way it's going, which is a lot of people were surprised. Like a lot of my friends that slowly got into soccer and the sport of and EPL, the league. When they call the Brighton Stadium the Amex, right? And it just sounds like but it's American Express Stadium, right? So like they were surprised that like they kind of put a little shine on it, right? But it's still just the American Express Stadium, which is a credit card company. So I think naming a stand is a step in the direction of, all right, the times are changing, but we also like we're not. Let's just dip our toe into it, and I'd be fine with like the main stand, right? Obviously, Cop I think is untouchable. Kenny Dalglish, you don't want to change that, and then obviously the name of Anfield you don't want to lose either. So I guess like the main stand, it's just called the main stand, like why not? But it's got to be the right advertisement.
And I think it goes back to that. They would probably, but I mean, once you open the door, I mean, it becomes a really gray area, though, Kazi. Like you said, they would ask in the stand, but then, like I say, like this week it's Nike, and then next week it's, I don't know, like an energy drink and stuff like that. I mean, it can go. I mean, who's gonna draw the line? I'm okay with it, and I honestly do think that they looked at this as, there's no way you're gonna change Anfield. There's, like I say, there's no to change the cup. This is a new, you can. This is the time if you're gonna do this. While it's hot off the presses, you can kind of do it now and get a sponsor.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, and listen, but again, I go back to it. Just depends what the name is. I'm not having something fucking daft, some daft, stupid name. Like you still got to kind of, let's get it right. I know they're the owners of the club, but they're also custodians of the club, and it has to be looked after correctly. We've seen this with owners, throughout the club right now. What's happening? With other clubs, so they have to do it correctly. So if they're going to do this, the name matters. If it is the ninth Anfield Road stand. But they're never going to get rid of the Anfield Road name. It's still going to me. It's always going to be the Annie Road. To you lads, it's going to be the Annie Road, and it just is what it is, kind of thing. But if they're going to go and get 200-300 million off it on the back of an okay name, a name that's going to be passable, then fine. But as I said to you, I'm not into the Dunkin' Donuts stand and shit like that. That can all just get in the bin. So.
Mecca would like the Dunkin' Donuts stand. Anything?
I'm sure he would. Young man.
We're thinking of getting it for the Thursday night podcast, like the Donut podcast or something like that. But speaking of money and bringing in more money, we are definitely looking for more official supporters and super fans for our Patreon, which started obviously. Well, it's been almost 2-3 weeks now, and we are starting to gain more and more followers. So I appreciate the support there. The $1 one for less than a cup of coffee a day. The $1 one basically gets you. You can thank this guy over here for the $1 tier. Maybe we'll name that the Gordon Lee tier or something like that.
Yes, just the gold old. Yes,
the cheap ass. World's second greatest dad. My goal is to, the people that are on the fence about it, they do $1 and then I kind of, I could probably do 5 and they do a year of the one and then they decide they like the content and they move up. So yeah, you can call it the cheap ass Gordon.
Yeah, I'm gonna the cheap Gordon tier. But yeah, actually it was a great idea. So we implemented it. Basically it's $1 a month, and then it does get you a lot of extended clips about some of the content. And we're thinking once you see some of the content, you might just run the other way as fast as possible, or you might be like, hey, you know what? I want more of this crap. And then upgrade to the next tier and stuff like that, where you start getting some swag and all that kind of stuff as well. But do check it out. We appreciate anybody who has already signed up. You can also sign up as a free member so that you can kind of get more information on the episodes going on there and stuff like that, which I'm sure we'll babble about it here, but that you get direct links over there that way. So, okay, let's get to tomorrow. Even though, like I say, we're not going to know much in terms of the injury front, but I'm getting the feeling more and more that we might not see Mo at all, or do you guys expect to see Mo tomorrow for 10-15 minutes so that he can show up? Mo wants to be out there on Saturday, but do we want to risk that? I guess is the bigger question, Kazi.
Yes, I think you give him 20 minutes. I think you have to get some rhythm into him. I want him to start the game. I do not want to see, as much as I love Harvey Elliott on the right hand side for Liverpool against City. So I think you get him 20 minutes. I think Darwin gets 20 minutes. I think there's a part of this as well, as much as we can be not complacent as such because we have a second leg, but you also don't want to be disrespectful. I really don't want to be 2-0 down going into Anfield. You know what I mean? There's a part of this where you lose the game 2-1 or you get a draw, something like that, and even win the game potentially still. I think this is a team, Sparta Prague. I think they lost to Rangers in the group games. I think Rangers beat them, if I remember correctly. So, of course, they're not the greatest side in the world, but there's still a part where you have to still show respect. This is a massive game for them, and they're at home, and they want to have the memories for their fans as well. You know what I mean? They don't want to see Liverpool's B team show up and beat them 4-0. So they have to have there has to be a respect element to this as well. It's still a game of football with Liverpool in Europe, and we have a very proud European record, and I want that to continue. So I still see Mo, Darwin getting time. I see Szoboszlai getting another 20 probably. I think this is the game where the manager has a set subs on his times, no matter what the score. I think the manager has set subs on times. I don't care if we're losing 2-0 or winning 2-0. Mo Salah's coming on 70. Yeah, I think that's his, you know what I mean. I think that's his way home here. I think that's the same for Szoboszlai. I think it's the same for Darwin. I think it could be the same where he did it for Van Dijk and Canate in a game where he swapped them out at half time. I can't. It was a Southampton.
That was Nottingham.
Nottingham. Yeah, when he it
was Southampton. Sorry,
Southampton. Yeah, he swapped them out at half time. I can see something like probably along those lines happening, unless he does Kwanzaa and Gomez and then Bradley right back. But there's an argument between us now, which we'll probably have a chat about. That Bradley probably wants the rest because we need him for City. It's a tough one, this, mate. It really is a tough one in terms of his choices. And those is another interesting one because we all agree that McAllister's can't be ran into the ground.
I almost feel like it goes back to what you're saying, like kind of like what we did with Van Dijk in the Southampton game. Like, like it would be end of one half, Mac one half, kind of an ordeal.
You're sharing the load, aren't we? We're all sharing the load this game to get through it. But I don't care, no matter what the score. I think the manager, Darwin, Mo, Szoboszlai on the 70. I think.
I almost feel like you're gonna see more of Nunez and Szoboszlai this game, like increased minutes after. What do they play? Like 20 or so, I think, right? Against Forest,
30 actually. I think they came on the 60, didn't they? So I was surprised by the time they came on. You have to check.
And I don't know if that was probably not the same scenario like you're saying, like where it's set minutes on this one. It probably was not for the other one. No. It was probably nothing more than 30 or something like that, and they were going to go in based on how the game was going. And obviously, we were going to need them. Salah was in the training ground today, but I mean, then again, we know Nunez and Szoboszlai were training well over a week before they even sniffed the bench. So I don't know if we risk it. I guess the biggest thing, Gordo, is we're going away. And these guys played against Galatasaray, so I watched the last game, like in that last round. And, I mean, it's a small stadium, but it's like a huge atmosphere. And let's face it, I was talking about this, I can't remember what day it was, but one of the morning shows, that it's very different playing away in the UK, even though, compared to going away to somewhere in Europe, like another city, another country and stuff like that. The environment is totally different. Stadium might not be the same caliber and stuff like that. Do you think it's too risky to throw way too many youngsters out there? Because it's one thing to deal with an away game at like Nottingham Forest compared to going to like Czechia and playing over there.
If this was going to be like their first run out, I'd say, it's that fearless factor of they don't know enough to be scared, and it's kind of more of an opportunity of this is a European spot for you. Like, here's your chance to play in Europe on a European stage, and that's exciting. But some of these guys have like proven that they can do it, right? And now they've got that behind them, that initial like walk in. Some of them have scored goals. They've put in good performances. They've been lauded as heroes for coming in and doing what they did against Chelsea, and then again at Southampton a couple days later. So these guys probably feel comfortable, and usually that sets in when you start seeing the young kids making mistakes because there's less freedom because you know what they're supposed to do. So this might be tough for them to come into. But this is talking about Mo. This is the longest he's been out for us, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
because he did break his collarbone, but that was Champions League final, so that was the last game of the season. We didn't, and he was already back and fully healthy when the season started again.
So before this injury, he'd missed 6 games in 7 years. 6 games.
He's probably chomping at the bit. He probably is telling Klopp like, "Oh, I'm ready for X amount of time," and so and with the announcement that Egypt's going to take him regardless now. Because they didn't get anything from Liverpool, that's going to be weighing on him, and he'll want to go out there and at least give something for us. But that worries me a little bit. I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah, Alan's saying doesn't playing more tomorrow, playing to the hand. I think it doesn't impact it at all. They're gonna call him either way. I think they're gonna call him either way, unless
He'd
we're
be in the
like "He's out
hospital
for
when they
another
call.
2 months or something like that. They're gonna call him either way, and I think they have a new manager and stuff like that too,
Yeah.
right? London Cop TV on Instagram says Diaz needs a rest too, and Sparta is not an easier way. I agree to both. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing, Kazi. It's not like while you probably don't want to throw a lot of kids away at Sparta.
No.
It's not like you have a lot of options either, because you do have to rest people ultimately, because some of these guys you're running into the ground. But if you look at the schedule, I mean, it's huge. I mean, we're talking about the quad and stuff like that, right? I mean, huge games coming up before the international break where you get the reinforcements back.
Yeah.
So this one is the only game I feel like you can make up for, and it's not that even the City game. I feel the same way. I know everybody's saying like if you lose to City, we're out of it and stuff like that. I'm not buying that. I think that's like an overreaction. But oh yeah, I was reading about it. People are like, oh yes, once we lose this, the same thing they did when we lost to Arsenal. It was over somehow.
I tell you what though, that LFC America Facebook page will absolutely melt down if we lose to City. Like
you think the LFC America page is bad? You should just go to the US fan group. Is just a shithole of overreactions. For anybody who has low blood pressure, I recommend it. It will put you right back to where you should be.
60 minutes, what was it? 60 minutes 0-0 at Bournemouth. And they were like, oh, this season's over. And we ended up winning. We won 4-0, right? So it's like, come here, just fucking watch the game. Shut up.
The live game, and that's why, you know, I don't think I would ever be able to do live watch alongs. Obviously, we do the United game, that was nice and easy, but because there's like so much overreaction, man, like middle of the game. I mean, we all do, right? You know, Kazi over here is one of the main guys. We all do like say some stuff, but not like it's over, he's garbage and stuff like that. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, he's the greatest ever. Just stop flipping back and forth. Just stick with the same thing. But Kazi, like I say, not that we have a lot of options, but knowing the games ahead, is this one that is the most likely to roll the dice within those 4 games?
Probably. The one thing I'd say is, though, I think Sparta Prague are top of the league. And I don't think they've lost many this season, if any at all. So they're really good at home. And I think they beat Galatasaray comfortably at home, didn't they, Tim? You'll be able to remember that one, I think.
They did, but they did lose.
Away. So away from home, they're ropey, aren't they? Because Rangers beat them at home. Rangers now, at Anfield. So they're a bit ropey away from home. So that's where Liverpool might fancy themselves. But they are good at home. And they do fancy themselves at home. So there is a part of that as well. I always have this thing about teams when you play these type of teams who are not used to losing games. They're going to roll in with confidence and go, "This is fucking, we haven't lost here this year. Like we'll play anyone here," because that's the attitude that you should have. I remember when we played Porto away. I never forget that we played Porto away and they hadn't lost at home in 18 months, and we beat them 5-0.
Yeah.
So sometimes this kind of weird stuff can happen. But that was when Liverpool, of course, are at their flying best, where we haven't got a bunch of kids out there. So, but yeah, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a tougher game than what people think. But as you, Tim, I'm with you. I think this is the one where he hasn't got a choice really, but to roll the dice. I don't think he hasn't got a choice. He can't go full strength. We can't afford another injury. I'm actually looking forward to the international break. Like, I am actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is going to be the first.
Like, get these lads back. I want strength for training for 2 weeks without fucking you know what I mean? No one else around them. I want Curtis Jones doing the same. I want Allison doing the same. So before you know it, after the international break, it might look completely different again. So it's going to be difficult, mate. It really is. But I still fancy Liverpool to win. I have no idea. What do you think we're starting, Tim? What would you do? Are you doing Costas?
Yes.
Are you doing centre half?
I'm doing Kwanzaa, and I'm doing basically what he did against Southampton. I'm probably doing Van Dijk and Kwanzaa, and then Konate and Kwanzaa, or something like that in the second half. So that's like the 45 minutes. I'm basically starting out with the lineup, and the 45 at halftime. I'm saying, okay, you guys had your run. Like if you're starting with Van Dijk and Endo, they come out. You put in Konate and Maka, for example, so they all both get only 45 minutes.
Is Gomez doing right back?
Man, I'm almost tempted. I don't know if he would do. The problem is, like you're saying, Bradley probably needs a rest, so Gomez probably will have to be right back. Otherwise, you would make him a defensive midfielder.
Gomez is doing 90. Gomez is doing the 90 then. You agree with that?
I think so, yeah. Because that way you're setting yourself up to play with Ando, Mecca, Szoboszlai midfield against City, which is probably the ideal midfield you ultimately want going against City.
So the argument is then, Gordo, you agree with that? You're having Gomez right back?
Yeah, and for the full 90, yeah.
So we're doing Kwanzaa and then one or the other for 45. So in midfield, then who are we doing? So we all agree that Maka probably needs a rest of some sort. Would you agree with that?
Who? Mecca?
Yeah.
That's why I'm doing a split half. I'm or 60-30 or something like that.
You're doing Endo. Who else are you doing? Endo for the first half.
Mecca for the second half, or maybe switch as 60-30 or something like that.
So let's just say we're doing Endo. Who else are you doing in midfield?
You're gonna have to play some kids.
Clark, yeah.
Elliot, maybe.
I don't know because
are you running Elliot into the ground? Meanwhile,
I think him and Diaz for sure.
This is what I'm saying, but I think there's an argument here, Gordon, and I agree with you that he might do Gakpo on the left, Darwin down the middle, and Elliot on the right to get Diaz's rest, and then do Darwin on the 60, and go Diaz you're doing 30. There could be that argument as well that he might do. Do you know,
the funny thing is, we're trying to do rotation. I think we already exceeded 5.
I don't think we've got any. I think we're doing 9 subs at our time between us here. Like, I'm struggling. I am struggling, honestly. Like, I think he does Endo. Suppose live 20 minutes ago. So you probably do Elliot for 70, and then Clark. Worry about the rest later, maybe.
I think you start with a more. In some ways, you start with a more slightly risky midfield and front line. Play it safe on the back, like start with Van Dijk and stuff. Because going back to what you were saying, like these teams like Sparta, because been there, done that with like Turkish teams, regardless of your home. I mean, you feel like, and nobody wants to go away to a Turkish stadium, right? Whether it's Fenerbahce or Galatasaray and stuff like that, the atmosphere is like, especially like when they play against other European teams, is freaking crazy. And you can ask any player that goes to Turkey, they're like, ugh, that's like a nuts atmosphere that you're afraid they're just going to come over and kill you on this pitch. So there's like a fear, they put the fear factor. I mean, you land at the airport, they'll say welcome to hell along your bus and stuff like that. So they'll do everything possible in Turkey. But even then, when you play against the big boys, and it's one thing to play against, I don't know, like Ajax or somebody like that, or if Porto comes over, that's not the feeling. But if one of the bigger boys comes to town, whether it's like Liverpool or, like Real or somebody like that comes to town, there's still that feeling of let's just play it safe. Don't let him do anything the first 15, 20 minutes. And then maybe we'll nick one. If we're going to get a score, this is the place to get a score kind of a thing. So I almost feel like the beginning of the game is much more important. And if you can somehow nick a goal, that's when the whole stadium, the balloon just goes because you're holding on. You're like, once they score, it's going to be over kind of a feeling. And they didn't have that against Galatasaray, but they will have that against Liverpool is what I'm saying.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I think it is. I've seen the comment there about Dan's getting a start. I don't think he does dance. I think it's I think it's harsh on Dan to put him in a way in a European game, which could be hostile. Do you know what I mean? The kid might not get a touch for the first 15. So I don't know, man. The manager has some serious. McConnell, maybe? Does he do? I agree with what you're saying. It's a first goal game, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's the first goal. If Liverpool score in the first 10, it could be 3-4-0, and then the manager has a free kind of hit at it. But again, go back to it. They are very good at home because I think I've just checked. Actually, they've lost 1 all season in the league, and they've conceded 15, which is fucking unbelievable. Even I get it, the type of quality, we understand all that, but this is still a team who's not used to losing. So their mentality is very strong. They're going to be strong mentally going into every game because they fancy themselves to win every game. So it's going to be tough, man. The manager's got a really interesting choice to make.
Yeah, that's why I was like really looking forward to seeing the press conference before we went on air today. But it'll be interesting to see like how he phrases certain things in terms of how much they're available and how many minutes we can get out of these guys and stuff. But without knowing all that, London Cup TV says Endo, Elliott, and Clark in first half in midfield, which I can also see.
Shame. I don't maybe do McConnell.
You know what I don't like about that midfield is physicality.
Agreed. Sorry, go on.
Clark and Elliott not coming back, and Endo's just kind of alone in a sea of defense in front of.
Yeah. There's an argument don't make he hasn't really got a choice.
Yeah.
We don't have a choice.
That's the only thing. But I think that's why I would probably say like McConnell over Clark in a game like this. I mean, they're basically any team you play in like Eastern European, they're like, I mean, obviously it's not always the same, but the bread and butter is always physicality, set pieces. And then they do have some speed on the wings, on the counter and stuff like that. That's why I feel like, you play it safe in the back. You roll your dice in midfield and up top and see what happens. And then at halftime, 60th minute, similar to what we did with Forest, I really think that was what I was thinking towards after we won that Forest game. I mean, you saw the last 20, 30 minutes. You're like, man, if we could start with 3-4 more starters than what we did, that would have been a much easier game. I think you put those guys in 60.
Yeah, as soon as Szoboszlai and Darwin came on, it looked different, didn't it?
Yeah.
As soon as they came on, we just looked bigger, we looked stronger, we looked like we had another gear to go to. I think Darwin had a couple of good chances. Szoboszlai, I thought he was a bit ropey, he was rusty, but he got into it. So I know what you're saying. That's where these big lads come back, these strong, fucking muscly hard men. Let's just come back into your team. And you're like, oh, they're men. They're real men. Like, they're built.
I don't think that's a thing for Sparta. I think for Sparta, they're Liverpool players. So for Forest, they might see it as, oh, these are kids. We can kind of bully them around a little bit and play maybe a bit more confidence and get more scared when they're like, holy shit, they're playing real players in now. Like when Szoboszlai comes in. But
because Sparta, if they played like their U21s, we'd never know. We'd consider, oh, this must be their first team. We wouldn't.
Yeah, and not to mention, like I say, they're ultimately still Liverpool players. They're playing Liverpool. It doesn't matter if you trot out like 10-year-olds out there. Exactly. It will still be like a built-in fear because it's Liverpool players. He must be something. I know he looks like he's 10, but, kind of a deal. So
there's also a team there. I don't know. Of course, I have watched a lot of Sparta Prague. But I'm assuming that, if you've lost 1 out of 23 and you've won 19 out of 23, you're used to being the team who's dominating possession. I'm going to assume that's the case. Where they're used to dominating possession at home and getting 70%. Are they going to want to do that against Liverpool? No. Are they want to just keep hold of the ball? That's what I'm saying. Are they going to go back into their shell and go against their game plan? So that's why I think the game's interesting. I do think it's interesting for the manager. This one especially. But I agree with you. I think you have to roll the dice. I don't think he has a choice.
Early shots in the dark predictions, Gordo. What do you expect to see tomorrow? Without not knowing the lineup, not knowing what Prague is going to do. What is this? I think we can only go by a gut feeling prediction on this one.
I'm still confident. I'm still with Kazi. I think we probably do give one up because it's away in Europe. But I'd probably say 3-1, 2-1. I wouldn't be surprised by it.
I agree. I think I'm gonna take the Timuchin special. I think, even though I never predict Liverpool to concede a goal ever again, I will take the Timuchin 3-1. I think, but I also think there's a part of this where they score early. And I think Liverpool can just come back into it and just overpower them with the subs, by the way, on the 70. If you are going to do the subs that we're dreaming of, the Salah, the Darwin, the Szoboszlai, and, with McAllister even, you kind of look and go, okay, now we can kick on and win the game. So
I know, like I said, I mean, you can probably say that for most games where the first goal is very important. And if we get one in, it's going to be a lot easier. But I think in more cases, this is definitely a bigger case where I really do think, once we give him the feeling that, especially if we score first, once we give him that, guess not going to happen because they're going to look for a 1-0 or something like that to get out of this game and hang on for dear life when they come to Anfield. So once you score one, I think you put the feeling of shit. I guess that's not happening because they're not going to be like, we can still smash them 3-1 or something like that. So I think that's the biggest deal. But we'll know more in the next couple of hours over here once Klopp says. Well, I mean, I don't know if we will know more because he's pretty cryptic with these. Because I don't think he knows. I don't know if he ever found out what was wrong with Besetic. He was like, yeah, I should ask. He's constantly at practice. When is he going to play, kind of thing. For tomorrow's game, I have no idea.
Joe, I'm excited for. Sometimes with the manager, I just think he stands at the plate and see who comes on. And he's just standing there and go, oh, fucking hell, he's coming.
That's like he's got a pen and paper and he writes their name on it and puts the name in the hat. So that hands the hat to Pep and here, Pep, pick the lineup for tomorrow.
Bro, he's sitting next to Linders and goes, fucking hell, Besetic just fit. He's here. Fucking hell. Like, what the fuck? I love the manager when he's just like, I have no idea. I love that from a manager when he just sits there, but fuck knows. I've got to speak to these pricks in the medical department.
And I think that's the thing, right? He's like, I don't know. They give me a list. This guy can play 30. This guy can play 20. And then we just throw it on the wall and see what happens. Exactly. I think it goes back to, it's been working. So we're just going to keep doing it.
I'm banging into the idea genuinely when Shane Ione walked in and he went, do you want a picture? No, I'm here to treat. Oh, I thought you wanted a picture. I thought you were one of these kids that was just show around and that now and then. I'm banging into that idea that because the manager just has no fucking clue what's going on.
But man, you look at this. I mean, if we can pull off another week like we did, I don't think it goes unnoticed for the most part, I think, but that was kind of like a miracle week we just pulled through. From the final to the Southampton game to this weekend.
It's one of the greatest. Yeah, it's one of the greatest weeks in the Liverpool system.
I mean, like unexpected, right? Like it's like, holy cow, what the hell just happened, kind of a thing. If we can pull off one more week like that in this round against City, then against United, then you get the international break and get the forces in. I don't know. This could be a quad year.
I don't want to jinx this. I'll tell you two things. One, like last week, I think one of the reasons it was so big is because I think all of us collectively would have been fine with maybe getting like losing 2 of those games or tying against Nottingham. Like we were okay with dropping points last week and it didn't happen. So I think that's why it was so big. But my dad has said, screw the US tour. If we get points off City, he's buying plane tickets for the end of May for the parade in Liverpool. That's how confident my dad is. Because if we get points at City, it's like this year is happening. It's going to be a big year. So my dad's got a lot riding on.
We're beating City, we're beating City.
Yeah, and I'm getting out of play.
Honestly, I've never been more confident going into the City game. We'll just battle them.
I'll be honest, I'm the same. Look, I'm not nervous of this weekend at all.
What makes me more nervous? God damn it, I can never win.
I was probably among the youths. Listen, it is, as you just said, mate, I think that's why when people were losing the shit against Forest and that, sometimes injuries, it just looked like they were going to catch up with us. And eventually, they catch up with us. But, of course, a bit of quality from McAllister just to slow it all down and just put in the perfect cross for Darwin. And it's, you know what I mean? It's not that we were okay with losing. It's just more, but you can just take it put into context of what these lads have done for us, which is absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's ridiculous, honestly. And these are Premier League footballers, mate, and what they're doing is unbelievable. Liverpool are a week away from destiny. Like, I said,
freaking huge.
I said that before I went to Vegas, because I just got back from Vegas yesterday. I said it before I went to Vegas. The difference between now and the last few years is that City are chasing Liverpool. We've used to have to go to City and try and get something. No. We don't need to get something. We don't need to win the game. We'll shake hands on 70 if you want to draw. No problem. Do you know what I mean? And we'll go again. So there's that argument as well. They're chasing us for the first time. The other thing is that no one really considers the second game's in Anfield for the first time I can remember in ages. Because it used to always be the second game was at the Etihad. And always City would take 4 points off Liverpool. City would take.
What I think is if you're Arsenal, you're looking at this game probably similar to how we're looking at the City Arsenal game, right? Yeah. And if Liverpool wins this and puts almost City away, that's kind of like shit, because we were thinking, there will be some points lost. They were probably hoping for a draw or something like that. So I think it's demoralizing to both at the same time. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. One game at a time, people.
Before we go, right, because I think this is interesting, and I want to bring it up. If you're Arsenal, what do you want?
You want to draw.
Do you? Because I don't know about you, because I'm a bit different. I think you want a Liverpool win, and then you beat City again, and go and put them out and go, we'll have a shootout with us too. Do you know what I mean? Let's just put them out.
Then it's over though, bro. Like it feels like there's a lot more to go, but I think they have 12 games left? Is that what it is?
Yeah, 11 games.
By the time they beat City, if we're still up, Arsenal probably feels better about themselves, but if they get a draw would really suit them well. But I know what you're saying. They might want us to win over City to win, just based on last year.
I want City out. I want City to go, no, you're not winning the next 10 games. Even if you win the next 10 games, it doesn't matter. Fuck off and leave. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the argument. And I think if I'm logical there, I would go, I want Liverpool to win, and we'll have a shootout with you. We'll try and catch you then. It's such a tough one. I think it really is.
What do you think, Gordo? What do you think? If you're an Arsenal fan, it's painful to imagine, but still.
Well, I think they, like you had said at first, is like they're looking at it from the context and the lens of last season, as the same as we're like, I'd much rather be in an 8-game shootout with Arsenal than I would with City. So I think they're probably thinking the same thing, and they're like, if it's us too, there's a chance. They're thinking there's a chance for them. We're thinking there's a chance for us. So yeah, I think if you look at it logically, they probably want us to take 3 points off of City.
I just think, mate, I just don't think they want them win the next 10 and just kill you and just take it out of it. I think they'll go just fuck City off, get them out the way. I think we both want City out the way, and we'll just have a shootout with you. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's just what we make their wishes come true, I guess. I don't care. It's huge. I mean, that's like, it would be a huge win, and I really think, especially the way City is going. Normally, you would not say it's still too early and stuff like that, but the way they are, they don't seem as dominant. Even watching that like United game, there's
no teeth.
It was United, but they both have like tough games. Like all three teams still have tough fixtures coming up. We were talking about it, I think, on the Monday morning or the Monday podcast about like which teams, like, everybody has a game with Villa, everybody has a game with Spurs and stuff like that. So there's some like tricky fixtures coming up for all three of them. But let's just hope that we have another awesome week right here, and then if you go into the international break, man, on the in a positive note, winning these games, yes, it would be quite the wild finish, and it would be something to. Let's not get excited. One game at a time. One game for a game at a time.
We finished this week well. I'm happy with 6:30 a.m. games for the rest of the season.
Mate, give me all the way games.
So confident I am.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to come here naked.
Yeah, this is always a dangerous threat that Cosby throws around that nobody wants to see, even in Patreon.
Patreon, baby.
But hey, thanks a lot for everybody joining us. Late news from Serzi that the squad is out and Mo is at least in the squad, so that's always a good sign there. Because, like I say, I'm sure Mo wants to play the Sunday, and I'm sure he knows he's not playing the Sunday unless he gets 10, 15 minutes.
You ain't taking him unless you're playing him. You're not taking him unless you're playing him.
Exactly. So, because if nothing else, so that you're not tempted, it would be another thing. Exactly. But hey, have a great Wednesday, everybody. We'll be here for the pre-match tomorrow, and actually, we should be online tonight as well for the panel show live at 8:00 Central. So we'll see you guys then. Have an excellent Wednesday, everyone. Thanks as always. Take care.